Now we'll practice a special pose to help us learn how to internally rotate at the very tops of the thighs. And this is important in setting up the pelvis as a pelvis that will allow a spine to be erect. So wrap the strap around the sacrum as you see here, and then pull the straps from between the legs, and then grab onto the straps with your palms facing forward, long spine, active legs, and pull the straps right to the right, left to the left, so at the very roots of your thighs, the thighs are internally rotating. Lift the low belly, lift the rib cage, engage the legs, and keep pulling with the hands to internally rotate at the roots of the legs. Let the pubic bone release down and lengthen the anterior spine. Now we'll do a variation of Urdhva Hastasana with 2 blocks and a strap. So place 1 block between your feet and place 1 block between your upper inner thighs, and then hold on to the strap with your hands at shoulders distance apart and lift the strap up and overhead. Let the thighs internally rotate and the outer thighs squeeze the block. So the outer thighs squeeze the inner thighs, which squeeze the block, and then lift the low belly up off the pelvis, and lift the rib cage up off the abdomen, lift the back ribs up off of the lower back, stretch the arms up to the ceiling, put tension on the strap, extend the arms and legs fully. Make lots of space and length in your body here, and let the abdomen settle back towards the anterior surface, the front surface of the lumbar spine. So let the front waist move to the back waist. As your arms move back, let the waist move back. Stand right over your arches and lengthen and breathe here. Full extension in the arms and the legs. Create an ascension of the spine from bottom to top, deep inside yourself. Deep breath here, and then lower your arms down. Now we'll get ready for a deep low lunge with the back knee down. So place a blanket on your sticky mat as you see here, and that will be the padding for the knee that will drop down. And then stand at the front of your sticky mat with a block on either side of each foot. Stand tall in mountain pose. Stand tall in mountain pose with energized legs. And then bring your hands down to the blocks and step your left foot back. Gather the outer right hip back and in. Lift the back thigh up. Lengthen the spine from bottom to top. Long trunk here, long abdomen. And let your hips sink down to be the height of the front knee. And then let your hips sink even further down as you reach the left thigh further back, and then place the left knee down on the blanket, and then untuck your back toes. So the front of the shin and the front of the foot and the back leg is resting down on the blanket and the sticky mat, and sink your hips forward and down. So the whole sacrum is relaxing and releasing forwards, and then lift your low belly so that you lift your trunk up and out of the pelvis. Bending deeply in the front knee, pull the outer right hip back. Pull the right femur back towards the hip socket. Pull the outer right hip back and also towards the midline. Gather your hips towards each other. Lift the low belly. Kick the back shin into the sticky mat. And then tuck your back toes under. Lift your back thigh and step your back foot forward. Then now step your right foot back, first coming into a simple lunge. Gather the left femur back towards the hip socket. Lift the back thigh. Let your hips come down to be the same height as the front knee. Gather your hips together and lengthen your spine. And then walk your right leg even further back. Extend that right thigh further back. Sink your hips down and then lower the back knee down onto the blanket. And rest the top of your back foot down onto the sticky mat. Kick the right shin down into the ground as you take your hips forward, letting the whole sacrum move forward. The tailbone moves into the body, and then lift your low belly and gather your outer left hip from the outer knee to the hip socket. So the outer left hip gathers back and in towards the midline. Squeeze your outer hips together, lift the deep low belly again, and lengthen through the anterior spine, kicking the right shin down. Bending deeply in the front knee. Smooth breathing here. And then tuck your back toes and lift your back thigh. And step your back foot forward. Bend your knees, relax and release your head down. And then take your hands to hips and stretch your chest forward to come on up. Now we'll practice side angle pose. Start in Tadasana with feet together. And then bring your hands onto your hips and step your feet wide. Have your toes pointing in so the heels are a little wider than toes. Long spine, shoulders back. And then turn the right leg all the way out and the left toes in a little more. Shoulders to the back of the shoulder sockets, long in the waist, and then bend the right knee deeply. Rest the right forearm onto the right thigh and get long from the left heel all the way through the top of the head. So the trunk is on a diagonal here, lengthening in line with the back leg, which is straight and extended. And then lift the left arm to the ceiling to help you open the left ribs. Think of lifting the belly to the ceiling. And think of grounding that right sitting bone forward towards the right groin. So the buttocks is not reaching back behind you. And then take the top arm all the way up and across, gazing at the top hand, and find a nice long line of energy from back heel all the way up through the top hand. And then inhale and lift yourself out of the pose, straightening the legs, hands to hips and change sides, turning the left leg all the way out, turn the right toes even more in, shoulders back, long spine, bend the left knee deeply, rest the left forearm onto the left thigh, and open the right shoulder so that the front of your trunk is pointing straight forward. Long line from the back heel, extended in the back leg, and all the way through the spine, through the top of the head. And then lift the right arm up, lift the belly to the ceiling, open the right ribs, drop the left butt cheek down and under you, and ground the center of that left butt cheek forward towards the groin. Strong in the back leg. Ground the right thigh back in space as you extend the knee. And then take that top arm all the way across so that it continues that diagonal line, gazing at the top palm. Strong in the back leg. Very bent in the front knee. Lifted in the low belly. And turn the right ribs open towards the ceiling. Gather the left butt cheek more underneath you. And then inhale and come all the way up to straight legs, arms extending to the sides, hands to hips, feet parallel. Recover with an open chest, and then step your feet together. Now lay down on your back for a variation of belly rolling. Have a block nearby. And then place the block between your knees, knees over hips. Stretch your arms out to the sides, long extended arms, shoulder blades sliding down your back. And then as you exhale, take your knees over towards your right elbow and they'll hover there. Knees are squeezing the block, and focus on the stretch of the inner arms. Lengthen the collarbones horizontally and slide your shoulder blades down your back and slide your belly to the left. And then inhale your knees to the center and exhale your knees over towards the left elbow. Spread wide through your arms. Press the backs of your hands into the floor. Slide your shoulder blades down your back and slide your belly to the right. Be wide in your collarbones here. Stay active in your arms. Inhale to the center. And exhale your knees over towards the right elbow. Inhale, knees to the center. And exhale your knees over towards the left elbow. Inhale the knees to the center and keep going on your own here. And then bring your feet back down to the floor and rest. Now we'll practice happy baby pose. So start laying down on your back, knees bent and feet flat, pelvis and spine neutral, long spine, breathing here. And then bring your knees into your chest and have your knees wide. And then kick your heels up towards the ceiling and grab onto the outer edges of your feet with your hands. Kick your heels away from the sitting bones to keep the backs of the knees open and let those thighs hug your outer rib cage. And breathe and relax here, and you can do some playful movements like pulling your right knee down towards the armpit and then pulling the left knee down towards the armpit. Let the lower back release and relax. Press the inner feet up towards the ceiling. Stay long in your spine here. Let the abdomen recede and lengthen, so no hardening or pushing in the belly at all. Bring your knees back towards your chest, grabbing onto the knees. Bring your legs back down, feet coming to the mat. And then start to elongate and stretch the legs and reach your arms overhead. Just creating some length here. Rolling the thighs in, stretching the inner feet forward. Lengthening the belly. Deep breath. And then release. Now we'll practice a version of corpse pose called dead man pose. So make a loop in your strap and step your feet through the loop. And then tighten up the strap so that your knees are strapped together fairly snugly. And then start to lay down on your back and set up the flesh of your buttocks so that it's pulling away from the lower back, so the buttocks is releasing towards the feet side. And now make your feet quite wide, so the feet are as wide as your sticky mat, and point your toes in slightly so you're a little bit pigeon-toed. And then slide your shoulder blades down your back and take a nice deep breath in to lengthen your spine and let your arms and hands relax. And just let the femur bones relax here. So the femurs are relaxing into the hip sockets. Smooth, steady breath here. And now start to draw your knees in towards your chest so that you can reach for the strap. Loosen it up a little bit and then take the strap off your legs. And roll on to your side and come on up.